Michael Carter Williams. Very few rookies have ever entered the NBA the way Michael Carter Williams did. In fact, his very first game is still one of the greatest rookie debuts in league history. Selected 11th overall by the Philadelphia 76ers in the 2013 NBA draft, Carter Williams joined a rebuilding team with almost no expectations. Then opening night arrived. His first NBA game happened to be against the defending champion Miami Heat, led by LeBron James, Dwyane Wade, and Chris Bosh. Nobody expected Philadelphia to compete. Instead, Carter Williams completely stole the show. He finished with 22 points, 12 assists, 9 steals, and 7 rebounds, nearly recording one of the greatest quadruple doubles in NBA history during his very first professional game. Basketball fans immediately believed the 76ers had found their future franchise point guard. Throughout his rookie season, Carter Williams averaged nearly 17 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds, easily winning Rookie of the Year. Everything pointed toward future All-Star appearances. Unfortunately, his weaknesses gradually became impossible to ignore. Although he possessed excellent size for a point guard, his jump shot never developed. Defenders began sagging off him. Turnovers increased. His scoring efficiency dropped. As the NBA became more dependent on floor spacing and perimeter shooting, Carter Williams struggled to adapt. Frequent injuries also interrupted his development. Within only a few years, the player who had looked like Philadelphia's future was bouncing between several different teams. Instead of becoming a franchise star, he eventually settled into smaller defensive roles before leaving the NBA. Today, many fans still remember that unforgettable debut and wonder whether expectations became almost impossible to live up to after such an incredible first season. Brandon Jennings. Brandon Jennings arrived in the NBA with confidence few rookies had ever displayed. Instead of playing college basketball, Jennings made headlines by becoming one of the first elite American prospects to play professionally in Europe before entering the NBA draft. That decision alone made him one of basketball's biggest stories. The Milwaukee Bucks selected him 10th overall in 2009. Only weeks into his rookie season, Jennings announced himself to the basketball world in spectacular fashion. During just his 7th NBA game, he exploded for 55 points against the Golden State Warriors. At the time, it was the second highest scoring game ever by a rookie. He was only 20 years old. Fans immediately started imagining how dangerous he'd become once he gained experience. Jennings finished his rookie year averaging over 15 points and nearly 6 assists while making the NBA All-Rookie First Team. For several seasons, he remained one of the league's most exciting young guards. His quickness, deep shooting range, fearless attitude, and flashy ball handling made him a fan favorite. But despite all the highlights, Jennings never developed into the superstar many expected after that incredible beginning. His shooting percentages remained inconsistent. Decision-making became an issue. Then injuries struck. In 2015, Jennings suffered a torn Achilles tendon while playing for Detroit. At the time, Achilles injuries were considered one of the most devastating injuries in basketball. Although he eventually returned, he was never quite the same explosive player. Over the next several seasons, Jennings bounced between multiple NBA teams before eventually continuing his career overseas. Today, he remains active around basketball through media appearances and youth development, while fans still remember that unforgettable 55-point explosion. Tyreke Evans. If you only looked at Tyreke Evans' rookie season, you'd probably assume he was destined for superstardom. The Sacramento Kings selected Evans 4th overall in the 2009 NBA draft. Almost immediately, he became one of the league's brightest young players. His combination of size, strength, and ball handling made him extremely difficult to defend. Standing 6'6", Evans could overpower smaller guards while also attacking bigger defenders off the dribble. His rookie numbers were remarkable. He averaged 20.1 points, 5.8 assists, and 5.3 rebounds, joining an exclusive group of rookies that included Oscar Robertson, Michael Jordan, and LeBron James as the only players to average at least 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists during their first NBA season. Winning Rookie of the Year felt almost automatic. many analysts believed Sacramento had finally found its franchise cornerstone. But after that incredible debut season, Evans never quite reached the same level again. One reason was constant position changes. Different coaches couldn't decide whether he should play point guard, shooting guard, or small forward. Every season seemed to bring a new role. Injuries also became a recurring problem. Ankle issues, knee soreness, foot injuries. None were career-ending individually, but together they prevented Evans from building momentum. Ironically, he enjoyed a late career resurgence with Memphis in 2017-18, averaging nearly 20 points per game once again. Just when it looked like he had finally rediscovered his best basketball, another setback occurred. In 2019, Evans was dismissed from the NBA after violating the league's anti-drug program. Although he later became eligible for reinstatement, he never fully re-established himself in the league. Today, many fans still point to his rookie season as one of the greatest examples of a player peaking almost immediately after entering the NBA. Danny Granger. During the late 2000s, Danny Granger quietly became one of the NBA's best scorers. Selected by the Indiana Pacers in 2005, Granger wasn't expected to become a superstar right away. Instead, he steadily improved every single year. By his fourth NBA season, everything came together. In 2008 to 2009, Granger averaged more than 25 points per game, earned his first All-Star selection, and became one of the league's most complete wings. He could score from deep, attack the basket, finish through contact, and defend multiple positions. For several years, he carried Indiana through one of the franchise's rebuilding periods. Many believed the Pacers had finally found the superstar they could build around. Then the injuries arrived. Persistent knee problems gradually robbed him of the quickness and explosiveness that made him so dangerous. Every season became more difficult. As Granger battled injuries, another young Pacer began emerging. Paul George. While George developed into a superstar, Granger struggled simply to stay on the court. Eventually, Indiana traded the player who had once been their franchise cornerstone. Although he briefly played for the Clippers and Heat, he never regained his all-star form. Today, Granger works in business and player development while remaining one of the more underrated stars of the 2000s. His peak lasted only a few seasons, but during that stretch, he was genuinely one of the NBA's best scorers. Roy Hibbert. There was a time when Roy Hibbert looked like the perfect center for the NBA. Standing 7 feet 2 with a massive wingspan, Hibbert became the anchor of one of the league's best defensive teams. Drafted by the Toronto Raptors in 2008 before immediately being traded to the Indiana Pacers, Hibbert wasn't an instant star. Like many big men, he needed time to develop. Over his first few seasons, he gradually improved his footwork, timing, and defensive awareness. By the early 2000s, everything came together. During the 2011-12 and 2012-13 seasons, Hibbert became one of the NBA's premier defensive centers. He made back-to-back All-Star teams. He was named to the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, and he became the centerpiece of Indiana's rugged defense that regularly challenged LeBron James and the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. For a while, Hibbert looked like one of the few players capable of slowing down the league's best offenses. His ability to protect the rim without fouling became so valuable that analysts even started referring to the Hibbert rule after the NBA adjusted how defenders could contest shots around the basket. Then basketball changed almost overnight. Teams began spreading the floor with shooters. Centers were expected to defend guards on the perimeter. Traditional back-to-the-basket big men suddenly became much less valuable. Unfortunately, Hibbert struggled in that new style of play. His mobility became a weakness. His offensive production declined. His confidence seemed to disappear. Within only a few seasons, the player who had once been an all-star was coming off the bench before bouncing between several different teams. He retired in 2018 after a 10-year career. Today, Hibbert works in player development with the Philadelphia 76ers, helping young centers improve their defensive game. His career is one of the clearest examples of a player whose peak coincided perfectly with one era of basketball, only to see the game evolve around him. Joakim Noah. When Joakim Noah first entered the NBA, very few people believed he'd ever become a superstar. Drafted 9th overall by the Chicago Bulls in 2007 after winning back-to-back NCAA championships at Florida, Noah immediately brought energy, hustle, and defense. Scoring wasn't his strength. Instead, he did everything else. He dove for loose balls, protected the rim, made extra passes, grabbed impossible rebounds, and played every possession like it might be his last. As Derrick Rose developed into an MVP, Noah became the emotional leader of the Chicago's championship contender. By the 2013-14 season, Noah reached the absolute peak of his career. That year, he averaged nearly 13 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists while winning the NBA Defensive Player of the Year award. He also finished 4th in MVP voting, an incredible accomplishment for a player who wasn't known as a scorer. His passing ability was especially unique. Very few centers in NBA history had ever served as their team's primary offensive facilitator. Many nights, Chicago's offense literally ran through Noah. Then, injuries started piling up. Foot problems, shoulder injuries, knee soreness. Every season became more difficult. Unlike players who relied purely on skill, Noah's game depended heavily on endless energy and constant movement. Once injuries reduced that energy, his effectiveness declined quickly. His later stops with New York, Memphis, and the Clippers never came close to matching his Chicago years. He retired after 13 NBA seasons. Today, Noah remains involved in charitable work and frequently appears around Bulls events. Although his peak lasted only a few seasons, many fans still remember him as one of the fiercest competitors of his era. King Gilbert Arenas. Few players have ever become superstars as quickly as Gilbert Arenas. Ironically, almost nobody expected it. Drafted in the second round of the 2001 NBA draft, Arenas entered the league with a chip on his shoulder. He called himself Agent Zero because so many teams had passed on him. Then he spent years making them regret it. By the time he reached the Washington Wizards, Arenas had become one of basketball's most explosive scorers. He could pull up from 30 feet, attack the basket fearlessly, hit game-winning shots, and score 40 or 50 points almost effortlessly. Between 2005 and 2007, Arenas averaged nearly 29 points per game, made 3 consecutive All-Star teams, and finished among the league's top scorers. Many analysts believed he had entered his prime. Instead, injuries completely changed his career. A serious knee injury required multiple surgeries. Although he returned, the explosiveness that made him so dangerous gradually disappeared. Then came the locker room incident in 2009 involving firearms, which resulted in a lengthy NBA suspension. The controversy overshadowed everything he'd accomplished on the court. Although Arenas returned to play, he was never again the superstar fans had watched during his Washington prime. He retired after brief stints with Orlando and Memphis. Today, Arenas has built a large following through podcasts and basketball commentary, where his candid personality continues to attract millions of viewers. Still, many fans wonder how many scoring titles and All-NBA appearances he might have earned without the injuries and controversy. Kevin Love. Most younger fans know Kevin Love as the veteran forward who helped LeBron James deliver Cleveland's historic 2016 NBA championship. But before Cleveland, Love was putting up numbers that almost seem unbelievable today. Selected 5th overall in the 2008 NBA draft, Love slowly developed into the centerpiece of the Minnesota Timberwolves. By his 4th season, he had become one of the NBA's most productive players. During the 2011-12 season, Love averaged over 26 points and 13 rebounds while stretching defenses with elite three-point shooting. He became one of the first power forwards capable of dominating both inside and outside. Many believed he was entering a decade-long stretch as one of the NBA's biggest stars. Then his role changed completely. After being traded to Cleveland in 2014, Love sacrificed much of his offensive game to fit alongside LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. His scoring dropped significantly. Instead of being the first option, he became the 3rd star on a championship team. While that sacrifice helped Cleveland win its first NBA title, fans never again saw the dominant statistical version of Kevin Love from Minnesota. Injuries also became increasingly common. Back problems, concussions, shoulder issues, hand injuries. Each one limited his availability. Love also courageously spoke publicly about anxiety and panic attacks, helping change the conversation around mental health in professional sports. His openness encouraged countless athletes to seek help and discuss mental health more honestly. Although he continued enjoying a long NBA career and remained an important veteran presence, many basketball fans still believe the statistical peak of Kevin Love came surprisingly early. The Minnesota version of Kevin Love was one of the most dominant rebounders and offensive forwards in basketball. Deron Williams. There was a stretch in the late 2000s when the debate wasn't about who the best point guard in basketball was. It was simple, Chris Paul or Deron Williams. Believe it or not, many fans actually chose Deron Williams. That's how dominant he had become. Selected third overall by the Utah Jazz in the 2005 NBA draft, Williams entered one of the league's most stable organizations under Hall of Fame coach Jerry Sloan. At first, his numbers were solid but not spectacular. Then everything clicked. By his third season, Williams had developed into one of basketball's elite floor generals. He combined incredible strength with elite passing ability, outstanding court vision, and one of the best crossover dribbles in the NBA. Unlike many point guards, Williams could overpower defenders physically while still making every pass in the playbook. During the 2007 to 2008 season, he averaged over 18 points and 10 assists, helping Utah remain one of the toughest teams in the Western Conference. Over the next several years, he made 3 straight All-Star appearances and consistently ranked near the top of the league in assists. Many believed he was entering his prime. Then things started changing. First came tension within the Jazz organization, eventually leading to the departure of longtime coach Jerry Sloan. Soon afterward, Williams was traded to the Brooklyn Nets. Although he continued putting up strong numbers early in Brooklyn, ankle injuries slowly began limiting his explosiveness. His first step wasn't the same. His quickness disappeared. As the injuries piled up, so did the criticism. By the time he joined Cleveland in 2017, the player who had once been compared to Chris Paul looked like a completely different athlete. His NBA career quietly ended shortly afterward. Today, Williams has largely stepped away from basketball, spending time with his family, and even competing in professional boxing and wrestling events for fun. Looking back, it's remarkable how quickly one of the league's best point guards faded from superstar conversations. Isaiah Thomas. Very few NBA players have ever experienced a peak as dramatic or as brief as Isaiah Thomas. Standing just 5'9", Thomas entered the league with almost everyone doubting him. He was the final pick of the 2011 NBA draft, the last pick. Mr. Irrelevant. Yet he used those doubts as motivation every single day. After steadily improving with Sacramento and Phoenix, Thomas arrived in Boston. That's where everything changed. The 2016-17 season became one of the greatest underdog stories in NBA history. Thomas averaged nearly 29 points per game, earned another All-Star appearance, finished 5th in MVP voting, and led Boston all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Every fourth quarter seemed to belong to him. Fans called him the King in the Fourth. Then tragedy struck. During the playoffs, Thomas lost his younger sister, China, in a car accident. Despite unimaginable grief, he continued playing. One of the most emotional performances in NBA history came when he scored 53 points on what would have been his sister's birthday. The basketball world rallied around him. But behind the scenes, his hip injury was becoming increasingly severe. Rather than shutting down immediately for treatment, Thomas continued playing through the pain in an attempt to help Boston reach the NBA Finals. That decision may have permanently altered his career. After being traded to Cleveland, he never regained the same explosiveness. The hip injury robbed him of the speed that made him nearly impossible to guard despite his size. Over the next several years, Thomas bounced between multiple teams trying to fight his way back into the league. Although he continued chasing NBA opportunities and inspired countless fans with his perseverance, he never again reached the superstar level he briefly achieved in Boston. His peak lasted only one magical season. but it remains one of the most unforgettable individual campaigns of the modern NBA. Penny Hardaway. There was a time when many basketball fans believed Penny Hardaway, not Kobe Bryant, would become the next face of the NBA. That's how incredible he looked during the mid-1990s. Standing 6'7", Penny completely redefined what a point guard could be. He handled the basketball like a guard, passed like Magic Johnson, finished above the rim, hit difficult jump shots, and defended multiple positions. Playing alongside Shaquille O'Neal in Orlando, Penny helped turn the Magic into one of basketball's most exciting young teams. By only his second NBA season, he had already earned first-team All-NBA honors. Think about that. He wasn't simply an all-star. He was already viewed as one of the 5 best players in basketball. Many analysts expected multiple MVP awards and championships. Then injuries began taking away the athleticism that separated him from everyone else. Repeated knee problems gradually changed his game. Although Penny adapted and remained productive for several years, he never again looked like the unstoppable superstar fans had seen early in his career. Instead of becoming one of the defining players of his generation, he spent much of the next decade trying to stay healthy. Today, Hardaway serves as the head coach at the University of Memphis, where he continues developing future NBA talent. Whenever people discuss players who peaked too early, Penny's name always enters the conversation, because for a brief moment, he genuinely looked capable of becoming one of basketball's all-time greats. Derrick Rose. At just 22 years old, Derrick Rose became the youngest MVP in NBA history. That alone explains why he's so high on this list. Rose wasn't just another young superstar. He looked like the future of basketball. Growing up in Chicago, he became a hometown hero before even entering the NBA. The Bulls selected him first overall in 2008, and almost immediately, he transformed the franchise. His speed was unbelievable. His explosiveness seemed impossible. He attacked the rim fearlessly against players much bigger than himself. By the 2010-11 season, Rose averaged 25 points and nearly 8 assists, leading Chicago to the best record in basketball. Many believed another Bulls dynasty was beginning. Then came one of the most heartbreaking injuries in NBA history. Late during the 2012 playoffs, Rose tore the ACL in his left knee. Millions of fans watched in disbelief. Although he returned, additional knee injuries followed. Meniscus tears, ankle issues, endless rehabilitation. The player who once looked like the NBA's brightest young superstar spent years simply trying to stay healthy. To his credit, Rose refused to quit. He reinvented himself multiple times and enjoyed several strong seasons later in his career. His emotional 50-point game with Minnesota reminded everyone how special he still was. But despite those moments, the truth remains. Derrick Rose reached his highest level before turning 23. Very few players in NBA history have peaked that early. Brandon Roy. No player represents peaking too early better than Brandon Roy. From the moment he entered the NBA in 2006, Roy looked completely in control. He never relied on flashy athleticism. He didn't force difficult shots. Everything looked smooth. Everything looked effortless. Kobe Bryant once called Brandon Roy the toughest player in the league to defend. Coming from Kobe, that says everything. Within only 4 NBA seasons, Roy had already become a 3-time All-Star, earned multiple All-NBA selections, and established himself as one of basketball's premier shooting guards. The Portland Trail Blazers looked ready to dominate the Western Conference. They had Brandon Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, Greg Oden, Nicholas Batum. Everything pointed toward a championship future. Then doctors delivered devastating news. Roy had almost no cartilage remaining in either knee. There wasn't a surgery that could restore it. No miracle treatment, no quick recovery. Every game caused more damage. Every season became more painful. Although Roy fought through the injuries and even produced memorable playoff performances, everyone knew his body was failing him. He retired at just 27 years old. While he briefly attempted a comeback with Minnesota, the pain never truly disappeared. Instead of spending another decade competing for championships, Roy's NBA career effectively ended before his prime should have even begun. Today, Roy has found success coaching high school basketball in Washington, earning championships while mentoring young athletes. His impact on basketball continues. But whenever fans think back to those first few seasons in Portland, they can't help asking the same question. How great could Brandon Roy have become? If you made it this far, comment down before who do you think would have made it the furthest on this list.